We've been conditioned to believe that life is a linear climb, that we must slowly build ourselves piece by piece, chasing the future like it's hiding somewhere far away. But quantum physics reveals something far more profound. Your future. Self, the version of you who is already healed, already expanded, already achieved what you dream about, doesn't separate. It's entangled with you right now. Think about entanglement. When two particles connect, they remain linked no matter the distance. Change one and the other responds instantly, not eventually. If particles can do this, why wouldn't consciousness? Your higher self isn't across the horizon of time, it's woven into your very being. The illusion of separation is what keeps you stuck. This changes the entire conversation of transformation. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about tuning in to what's already there. The question is no longer, how do I get there? But how do I align with the self who's already living the life I want? And here's the truth. You don't do this by force. You don't do this by endless effort. You do it by recoding the patterns of your mind and nervous system, clearing the interference so the signal of your entangled self can finally be heard. Let's be clearmost. People spend their lives broadcasting static. They think one thing, feel another, and act in a completely different way. The field doesn't punish them for it, but it mirrors the incoherence, and the result: delay, frustration, the sense that change is always just out of reach. But when you recode your mind, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align in coherence, something extraordinary happens. You stop broadcasting noise, you begin broadcasting precision. And the field, the quantum field of infinite possibility, cannot ignore it. Your entangled self is not waiting for you to deserve it. It's waiting for you to tune in. The mechanism is alignment, coherence, resonance. That's what we're going to explore together, step by step. Not just theory, but a complete guide to recoding your mind so that entanglement is not just a concept you understand, but a reality you live. This is where science meets spirit, where the deepest discoveries of quantum physics meet the timeless wisdom of consciousness. And when you see it clearly, you'll realize your future isn't ahead of you. It's within you, entangled. Here. Now, if the future self you desire is already entangled with you, then why don't you feel it? Why does life still look the same, day after day? The answer lies in the programming of your mind. Think of your mind like a computer. From the moment you were born, it's been downloading code beliefs from your parents' emotional imprints, from experiences, cultural messages about who you are and what's possible. By the time you reached adulthood, more than 90% of your daily thoughts, feelings, and behaviors were automated. You aren't consciously creating your life. Running a script written years ago, and here's the real problem. Most of that code was written under stress. Childhood fears, disappointments, failures, and even inherited traumas are embedded in your subconscious as protective patterns. Your nervous system learned what to expect, and it repeats those expectations endlessly, even if they no longer serve you. That's why so many people feel stuck. They want freedom, but their subconscious still associates freedom with danger. They want abundance, but deep down they've been coded to expect loss. They want love, but their body is still bracing for rejection. The field doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what your deepest programming believes is safe. This is why traditional motivation fails. You can repeat affirmations all day. You can visualize your dream reality. But if your subconscious is still coded to resist it, the signal you send into the quantum field is fragmented. And a fragmented signal cannot collapse a coherent reality. Here's the liberating truth. Code can be rewritten. Your subconscious is not fixed. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, proves this scientifically. With repetition, emotion, and presence, new pathways are created. Old patterns dissolve. The body learns a new normal. The nervous system begins to trust expansion instead of fearing it. But this doesn't happen by force. It happens by awareness. By slowing down, observing the old code without judgment, and consciously installing a new one. Every thought you nurture, every emotion you embody, every action you repeat becomes new programming. Over time, the system shifts, the static clears, the signal sharpens. So why does this matter for entanglement? Because your future self isn't waiting for you to become someone else. They're waiting for your field to stabilize enough to receive their signal. Imagine trying to tune into a radio station. You can't hear the music if your dial is full of static. But once you adjust the frequency, the music was always there. You just had to clear the interference. Your life is the same. The entangled self is already broadcasting. The question is, are you ready to recode your mind so you can finally hear it? In the mysterious world of quantum physics, there exists a phenomenon that defies the very logic we've been trained to accept: entanglement. Albert Einstein himself once called it spooky action at a distance, because two particles, once connected, seem to communicate instantly no matter how far apart they are. If one particle changes, the other responds instantly, faster than light itself could travel. At first glance, this might seem like nothing more than a quirk of physics, confined to laboratories and advanced equations. But when you look deeper, entanglement offers us a profound key to understanding consciousness, intention, and manifestation. Think of entanglement as the ultimate proof of connection. Everything that exists in the universe is not separate, but part of a unified web. Just as two entangled particles respond to each other across galaxies, your mind and the universe are entangled. The thoughts you send out, whether of fear, love, doubt, or faith, don't simply vanish. They ripple across this web of connection, influencing outcomes, opportunities, and experiences. Now, imagine this. If consciousness is not confined to your brain but is instead part of a larger field of awareness, then every thought becomes a broadcast into this quantum network. Entanglement shows us that distance doesn't weaken influence. Just as two particles respond instantaneously to one another, your intentions can resonate beyond the limitations of time and space. Consider how this plays out in real life. Have you ever thought of someone and then, suddenly, they call or text you? Or have you walked into a room and instantly felt the vibe without anyone saying a word? These experiences aren't coincidences. They are small glimpses of the entangled consciousness we all share. But here's where it becomes even more powerful. If everything is entangled, then what you consistently feel and focus on becomes magnetized into your experience. The universe doesn't respond to fleeting wishes or half-hearted attempts, responds to the deep frequency of your consciousness. Entanglement isn't random, it's alignment. Think of your consciousness like tuning a radio. If you want to hear jazz music, you don't stay tuned to a rock station, you must shift the dial. Likewise, if you want success, love, health, or abundance, you cannot remain tuned into fear, doubt, or lack. Entanglement ensures that whatever frequency you hold within will connect you to the corresponding external reality. This is why ancient spiritual teachings have always emphasized unity, connection, and intention. Quantum physics is now confirming what mystics have known all along: we are not separate from creation, we are creation. The universe is not out there, apart from USC, is entangled with us. The takeaway: your consciousness has reached far beyond your body. When you choose thoughts of clarity, gratitude, and determination, you're not just changing your inner world, you're altering the fabric of reality itself. Entanglement shows us that manifestation is not about forcing life into shape, but about aligning your frequency with the greater web of existence so that life naturally reorganizes around you. Your life is not written in stone. It is written in code, and that code lives inside your subconscious. Every repeated thought, every belief you inherited, every story you told yourself as a child, every wound you never healed became a line of programming. That programming is what decides how you see yourself, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately, how far you allow yourself to rise. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you never recode that inner script, you'll keep pressing play on the same movie over and over. Different characters, different settings. Maybe even different jobs or relationships, but the storyline will remain the same. The hero will always stop short of victory. The dream will always be almost within reach. The patterns will keep repeating because the script running your mind has not been rewritten. But you are not condemned to that loop. You are not locked inside those old codes. Consciousness gives you the ability to rewrite your internal software, to interrupt the programs of limitation and upgrade them with codes of possibility. This is not about denying your past, it's about no longer being imprisoned by it. Recoding your mind means replacing "I can't" with "I will." Replacing "I'm not enough" with "I am limitless." It means dismantling the false ceilings you've built inside yourself and aligning your thoughts with the infinite potential that lives at the quantum level of your being. Think of it like editing the operating system of your life. If an app on your phone crashes again and again, you don't keep hitting restart, you update the system. Your subconscious works the same way. It responds to what you feed it. It's fear, doubt, and self-sabotage, and that's what it will execute. Feed it belief, courage, and intention, and it will reprogram itself to open pathways that once seemed impossible. This is the moment you stop being a passive user of your mind and start becoming the architect of your reality. Because when you change the script, you change the story. And when you change the story, you change your destiny. Intention is not a casual wish. It is not a fleeting thought that drifts in and out of your awareness. Intention is concentrated, energy like a beam of light piercing through darkness, carving a path toward creation. In the quantum field, every possibility exists, but only those possibilities that are given attention, clarity, and emotional charge begin to collapse into reality. Think of your intention as the steering wheel of your consciousness. Without it, you drift aimlessly through the ocean of infinite probabilities. But with it sharp, focused, unwavering, you command the waves. What you focus on expands, and what you feed with your energy begins to materialize. This is why idle daydreaming rarely changes lives, but conscious, heartfelt intention moves mountains. True intention is not just thinking positive. It is alignment, your thoughts, emotions, and actions pointing in the same direction. You say, "I want abundance," but your inner dialogue whispers scarcity and your habits reinforce lack. The field receives mixed signals. The quantum universe does not respond to words alone. It responds to coherence. When your inner state matches your outer declaration, the probabilities shift. This is where focus becomes vital. A scattered mind produces scattered results. But a mind sharpened with clarity, infused with emotion, and grounded in belief becomes a magnet. Intention is that magnet drawing experiences, people, and opportunities that mirror your inner frequency. The truth is, your life right now is the sum total of your previous intentions, whether conscious or unconscious. Every thought you repeated, every belief you carried, every focus you entertained, they have brought you here. The question is, where will you go next? When you learn to set clear, elevated intentions and hold them with faith, you are no longer a victim of chance. You are a participant in creation. You are directing energy with precision, and the universe, always listening, always responding, begins to conspire in your favor. So pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what do I truly intend? What energy do I choose to send into the quantum field today? Because the answer to that question is not just philosophy, is the blueprint of your unfolding future. Thoughts are sparks of electricity. Emotions are waves of magnetism. When the two merge, they create a broadcast powerful enough to speak directly to the quantum field. You are not simply a thinker. You are a transmitter. Every thought carries information, but it is your emotion that gives that information weight, power, and influence. Imagine telling yourself, "I am abundant." The thought flickers like a tiny bulb. But if beneath that thought, your heart whispers, "I feel empty. I feel lacking," the universe does not hear the bulb, hears the whisper. And so, it reflects lack, not abundance. This is why so many people say affirmations, yet see no transformation. Their thoughts and their emotions are at war. To entangle with your quantum self, you must create coherence. That means aligning the language of the mind with the feeling of the heart. When your thought says, "I am abundant," your heart must feel the joy, the gratitude, the freedom of abundancy vend before it appears. That alignment sends out a frequency so pure, so undivided, that the quantum field cannot ignore it. Rearranges probabilities to match your broadcast. Think of it as a symphony. The mind is the sheet music. The heart is the orchestra. Without music, the orchestra has no direction. Without the orchestra, the music remains silent ink on paper. But when both unite, the symphony plays and reality responds. Your emotions are not weaknesses, they are engines. They fuel your creations, but only when they are coherent with your intentions. If you want to step into your highest potential, don't just think, feel it. Train your heart to beat in harmony with your vision. That is when the entanglement occurs. That is when possibility collapses into destiny. We must understand your mind is not a static machine. It is a living, dynamic field of energy. The programs you carry today are not permanent. They are simply patterns that can be rewritten, refined, and upgraded. This is where quantum practices step in, not as shallow rituals, but as sacred tools of transformation. Meditation is the gateway. In stillness, your brain drops from the noise of beta into the deeper currents of alpha and theta. These states are not mere relaxation. They are the fertile soil where the subconscious becomes malleable, where you can plant new seeds of possibility. When you close your eyes and withdraw from the outer chaos, you tune into the inner field of infinite potential. Here, you are no longer bound by time, space, or memory. You are connected to the quantum realm, where everything is possible. Visualization is the act of sculpting reality with the imagination. Do not underestimate it. The brain cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. When you see your future self with intensity, when you rehearse the life you desire with emotional conviction, you are not daydreaming, you are rehearsing creation. You are bending probability in your favor, entangling with outcomes before they materialize in the physical world. Affirmations are not just words, they are commands, frequencies spoken into the quantum field. But their power lies not in repetition alone, but in conviction. When you declare, "I am worthy," you are not begging for change. You are aligning with the truth of your quantum identity. Spoken with intention, affirmations overwrite the corrupted scripts of the subconscious, dismantling beliefs that no longer serve you. And breathwork, do not dismiss it as simple oxygen exchange. Breath is life force, the bridge between body and spirit. With conscious breathing, you regulate the nervous system, quiet the overactive mind, and open gateways into expanded awareness. Each inhale is a reminder of infinite possibility. Each exhale, a release of limitation. These practices are not occasional rituals to sprinkle on your busy life. They are disciplines that rewire your mind and body into coherence with your higher self. They are technologies of consciousness. Through consistency, they become pathways, each session laying down new neural tracks, each repetition strengthening your entanglement with the self that already exists in the quantum field. Understand, this transformation is not accidental. It is cultivated. With every meditation, every visualization, every affirmation, every conscious breath, you are recoding the software of your mind. You are dismantling the illusions of separation and aligning with the infinite. These are not practices to fix you. You are not broken. They are practices to remember who you truly are, a quantum being capable of sculpting reality itself. At every breath, at every blink, the universe is presenting you with a menu of infinite possibilities. Endless versions of your life hover in the unseen field, some where you stay stuck in fear. Others where you rise into greatness, and countless more spread across the spectrum of what could be. This is not fantasy. This is the quantum truth of existence. Reality is not a fixed script handed to you. It's a fluid dance of probabilities waiting for you to choose the rhythm. The question is not, do I have a future? But which future? Am I willing to collapse into the present? Because here's the secret. Possibility only becomes reality when it is observed, felt, and claimed with certainty. Until then, it remains a ghost of potential, an unplayed note in the symphony of your existence. When you align with your quantum self, you stop stumbling in the dark. You stop waiting for chance or luck to decide your path. Instead, you become the decisive observer who collapses the wave of uncertainty into the particle of experience. In other words, you become the creator, not the passenger. Think about it. Every time you declare with conviction, "This is who I am. This is what I will live. This is the life I am creating," you summon that version of reality into form. And when thought, intention, and emotion harmonize into coherence, the field has no choice but to rearrange itself around your clarity. But here's the danger. Most people collapse possibility unconsciously. They focus on worry, they dwell in fear, they replay the worst-case scenario, and unknowingly, they crystallize that into existence. They walk around saying, "This always happens to me. Nothing ever works out. I'll never be free." And the universe, obedient and neutral, echoes back, "As you believe, so it is." Your task then is not just to dream, not just to hope, but to stand in authority as the chooser of your reality. The quantum field is listening, it is waiting, and it is infinitely generous. Do not underestimate the power of your observation. Do not trivialize the weight of your focus. The future bends at the command of your awareness. Collapse possibility deliberately. Call forth the reality where you are thriving, where you are evolving, where you are living in harmony with the highest version of yourself. Because the moment you understand this, truly understand, it too will never again play small. You will never again live as though life is happening to you. You will know with every fiber of your being that life is happening through you because of you. As you are not a victim of randomness. You are the sculptor of probability. You are the conscious creator of destiny. The greatest mistake many seekers make is thinking the quantum journey ends when the meditation bell rings or when the visualization exercise is over. No, that's only the beginning. The true power of quantum living is not in temporary glimpses of higher states, is in embodiment. To live as your quantum self means carrying the awareness of infinite possibility into every breath, every choice, and every interaction. When you wake up in the morning, you are faced with two versions of yourself: the limited self that repeats yesterday's patterns and the expanded self that dares to create anew. To live as your quantum self is to choose the second one. It is to ask, what would my highest self choose in this moment? What action, what thought, what feeling aligns with the life I am consciously creating? Living as your quantum self is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Fear will still whisper. Doubt will still knock. But you no longer make decisions from fear's grip or doubt's shadow. You listen, acknowledge, and then step forward in expansion. Because you know your destiny isn't written in limitation. It is sculpted by your courage to align with possibility. This embodiment also means trusting your intuition over external noise. Your intuition is the voice of your quantum self, knows the path before logic can calculate it. Every bold step taken in trust strengthens this entanglement. Every act of faith collapses reality into alignment with your highest vibration. And as you live this way, something remarkable happens. Your outer world begins to mirror your inner coherence. Relationships shift. Opportunities appear. Line up like cosmic breadcrumbs guiding you forward. Life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance where you are both the dancer and the choreographer. Moving in harmony with the universal rhythm, to live as your quantum self is to finally step out of survival mode and into creation mode. It is to recognize that you are not a passive character in life's story. You are the author. And each day, with each thought, each feeling, and each act of courage, you write a chapter that reflects your higher design. So don't just meditate to touch the quantum field. Live there. Don't just visualize abundance, embody it in how you walk, speak, and act. Don't just affirm love, become love in the way you connect with others. For when you fully embody your quantum self, your life stops being a repetition of the past and becomes the unfolding of a divine masterpiece that only you can create.